Hola a todos, faltan como 3 minutos ya para las 7. Vamos a ingresar, vamos entonces a ir ingresando, vamos a empezar entonces el webinar. La idea es, bueno, les presento un poco acerca de Guilherme. Guilherme es coach, ya nos dirá en un banco de Brasil. Eh, lo conocí en el Scrum Coaching Retreat, Scrum Coaching Retreat, no, quería ir al Scrum Coaching Retreat en el Scrum Gathering de Perú. Fue una gran experiencia conocerlo. Eh, la idea es pues allá nos compartió acerca de lo que significa ser un Agile Coach y tenía pues como la inquietud de compartirles a ustedes pues, quién era él y qué es ser un Agile Coach. Me parece que la aproximación de Guilherme es bastante interesante. Bueno, como les decía, vamos a trabajar un hashtag, el de Agile Coach. Estaremos pendientes en la parte de Twitter y también en la parte de preguntas y respuestas dentro de la plataforma pues, que estamos utilizando dentro de Google, que nos permite hacer preguntas y respuestas. Ok, y ahora en mi mal inglés, hello everybody, good night, and welcome to our webinar with Guilherme. Guilherme is Agile Coach in Brazil, and he's we meet us in a Scrum gathering of Peru. And okay, he want to talk us about Agile Coaching, who is Agile Coach, and okay, the spirit of Agile. And Guilherme, please be patient with our English, please in slow English, and you take the microphone, okay, and the presentation and whatever.
Okay, thank you very much. I already see one question, so I think that is working. Paolo Carrasco already asked one, so I think it's a good question, which I'll try to answer during the presentation as well. While people are connecting, I'll ask you guys to think about which questions you have, and that can happen during any time during the presentation, and you can either write here, or you can write on Twitter, or you can write on the Meetup event, so that I will be sure to answer all your questions. If you can see my slides, it's the title and many ways that you can contact me. You can contact me by email. If you use gfcnotta@gmail, it's the same as my Twitter and my LinkedIn as well. So if you'd like to connect with me, you can look me up on LinkedIn and add me over there. A little bit about myself. I have been working with Agile software development since 2008. Here in Brazil, I helped organize the Agile Brazil conference for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
I was a developer. I worked with quality assurance. I worked with software functional and non-functional automation, with security testing, penetration testing. Today I am an Agile coach, which is something very hard to describe in the market. People have a hard time understanding what is an Agile coach, and that's the purpose of my presentation. My presentation aims to explain what I believe it is an Agile coach. So let's start. The first thing that I want to say is to be careful, because what I will be speaking here is based on my own experiences. It's not based on any book or any professor or any scientist. It's based on what I've seen and what I've done in the market and on the current company that I am working at. So let's start with Agile, because we want to talk about Agile coaching. Agile, as you probably know and heard before, was an attempt of many brilliant developers from different places in the world that got together and they tried to create a lightweight methodology. So they made an analogy with waterfall, saying that waterfall is heavy. It's a heavy process, a heavy methodology to develop. And they wanted to come together, discuss, and agree on a way of developing software lighter, with less bureaucracy, less documentation, less rules. And they failed. They were not able to create a lightweight methodology. Instead, they created the Agile Manifesto, which you guys probably heard about it before. One thing that I like to explicitly talk about is that in the bottom of the axioms of the Agile Manifesto, like individuals and interactions over process and tools, there is this sentence that says, we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others to do it. So Paolo asked the first question, and his first question was, what would be the first skill an Agile coach should start? I think this sentence is that skill. It's understanding about Agile and continuing this process of learning more about Agile and learning more about software development and helping others to do the same thing. So an Agile coach will never stop learning, and an Agile coach will never stop teaching. Those are two skills that are very important for an Agile coach. Moving on, I would like to talk about Scrum, because Scrum is brilliant in a way that they help the world learn more about Agile. The way I like to talk about Scrum, to explain to people, is that I see Scrum as a similar way of learning how to ride a bike. Scrum to me is the picture on the middle. You have your father holding you. You have a helmet to protect your head so that you don't fall. You have pads on your arms and on your legs so that you don't get hurt when you fall. Because in software development, we fall a lot and we get hurt a lot. We fail delivering projects, we fail understanding requirements, we fail on adding value. So that happens. But Scrum is a safe way for you to learn more about Agile software development. But the goal is not to ride a bike your whole life with your father holding you on the side, like the picture in the middle. You probably want to remove the helmet, remove the pads, or make some adjustments on your bicycle. You grow during your life. You learn more. So your bicycle needs to be bigger, right? So that you are an adult with an adult bike. It makes more sense. But there are also other means of moving yourself that are not only with a bicycle. One example is the third picture on the right, which is the motorcycle. So you see a kid more or less on the same age, but riding a bike. And a bike is much faster than a bicycle. But in order to ride a bike, you need to have some skills that you probably don't have when you start with the bicycle, with the helmet, with the pads, and with your father holding you, and with the wheels on the back of the bicycle. Does it make sense? Jorge, is it clear until here?
Yes, it's clear. It's
Good.
clear. Okay.
Good.
Nice example. Yes.
Okay. Let me keep going. So for an Agile coach, you need to know what is Scrum, why you are doing Scrum, how you are doing Scrum. It needs to be very clear on your mind. It's also very good to have multiple experiences with Scrum. At some point, you followed all the rules, all the guides, the process, step by step. and you learn what worked and what didn't work on that context. Does it mean that it will be the same next time on the next company with different people? No. You have to inspect and adapt. You will have to find out what is best for that context. Someone said that the presentation stopped. Did it change now? One? Jorge?
Okay, what? Excuse me?
Can you see the Kanban slide now?
Yes.
Okay. Someone said that it's stuck, but I think it's okay. I didn't move before. Now I'm moving.
Okay.
Kanban. Kanban is something that really bothers me very often because somehow we started speaking about Kanban as anything on our wall. So if we have post-its on a wall, if I take a post-it here,
okay,
and then I'll show you a really quick trick. This is how people remove post-its from the wall, and this is the right way of removing a post-it from the block. You need to hold like this, and then you need to pull it this way. Then I'll show the difference really quick. This one is the one that I removed correctly, and this is the other one. So you can see that this one is a lot bent, and that's how you see it on the companies usually, because people don't know how to remove the paper from the post-it block. Getting back to Kanban, the thing that gets me really disappointed is that people look at this and say, hey, this is a Kanban. And this is not a Kanban. At most, this is just post-its or information on the wall. Kanban has at least 3 basic aspects, which you can see on the slide. You need to use limits, which means that you need to limit the amount of work that a team or group of people is working at a time. You need to have transparency, which, yes, you can get it from seeing the work that is being worked on a wall. But third is continuous improvement, which means that you need to change your process along the way. You need to do experiments. You need to measure. You need to learn. You need to change during the way.
Okay.
If you have a card wall without limits, without continuous improvement, you are not using Kanban. You just have a visual board, you have a visual wall with your work that you are working on. And that's fine. Your Kanban is not mandatory. You're not obliged to use Kanban. It is another tool, another framework, mindset that helps you on improving your productivity, identifying bottlenecks, and helping your delivery. And I talked quickly about Scrum and Kanban, but in the Agile world, there are many, many different flavors, different things that you need to learn and study and practice. Some examples: extreme programming. Inside extreme programming, you have values, you have tools, you have practices. Scrum, Kanban, lean software development, other practices, TDD, that it's also an XP, but also ATDD, acceptance test driven design, BDD, behavior driven development, management 3.0, which I will give a few examples during the presentation, that I will show physical things to you guys as example. Have the experience of lean startups. How come startups can develop and grow so fast and our companies are so slow on growing and reacting to market? What are these differences? Knowing how to scale, safe, less, Nexus. And I'm not saying that any of those scaling frameworks are good. I'm just saying that you need to learn and you need to know that those things exist, and some of them you will learn more about it and others you will learn less. So this is just to give an overview, and we have many other things that are not here, design thinking, for example, and other approaches. So I talked a bit about Agile. What is coaching? The origin of the word coaching, it came a long, long time ago, and it means someone that would take you from point A to point B. So think about a guy with a horse, and you would go, get inside, take a seat, and then he would take you from Brazil to Colombia with his horses,
Yes.
for example.
Okay.
That would be your coach.
Okay.
You want to say something, Jorge?
Yes. I think it's the trip. Yes. Only thinking the trip.
Cool. Is it good so far? Is it too fast?
It's so far. Okay, it's so far, but okay, it's a nice trip. I think the go through the Amazonas and whatever. I think is a great challenge. It's a nice movie.
It would require a very good coach to take someone with horses from Brazil to Colombia. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
I definitely agree. So coaching is very different from mentoring. Coaching is a process that you help individuals or teams of individuals to go through experiences and experiments, and they learn and grow along the way. A mentor or mentoring would be me working with someone and telling them what to do. So a difference would be, let's say that me and Jorge, we are working together. If I am his mentor, I will go to him and say, Jorge, to solve this problem, do this. Because I've done that before, I know the results, and I know that on this context, this will work. That is mentoring. Coaching would be me asking Jorge, what are you thinking about doing on this situation? And then he will explain to me what he believes is the best way to move forward. And I will keep asking him questions so that he develops his thoughts and his ideas, but I will also let him fail, because failing, it's a good experience to help us learn. Of course, we cannot just fail all the time or fail randomly, but we can fail with learning. That's very powerful and very good for teams and individuals.
Okay.
So let's say that you joined this presentation and you already heard me talking about 15 minutes and you got nothing, right? Maybe you didn't know about Agile or you're not into software development. So I'll give you a tip that works for anyone, and it's the rubber duck tip. You need to take something, for example, my slider pointer here, and let's pretend that it is a rubber duck. Use it as your coach. So when you have a question, instead of asking someone for advice, ask your rubber duck. It might sound crazy, but sometimes if you do that by yourself, you can find out the answer. Just the fact that you are pretending to ask the question to somebody else, you get the answer. Maybe it already happened with you sometime before or some time ago. You ask like, oh, where is the laser pointer? Where's my laser pointer? And then you figure out, oh, it's on my hand. Or where is the remote control of the TV? Where is it? And then you find out, oh, it's on my hand. The same thing works for many different approaches. Okay, I talked about Agile very quickly, and I talked about coaching very quickly. I'm talking about Agile Coaching. So Agile Coach is the same as Agile plus coaching, right? No, that's exactly what it's not. We in IT and software development, if there is one thing that we are terrible, is naming things. The names we give for things are terrible. Let's talk about Agile again. Agile methods. Are we faster with Agile? No.
No. No.
So why did we put Agile?
We produce less waste. Less waste.
Sorry?
We produce less waste.
Yes, we produce less waste. Maybe less weight would be a better name than Agile. We cause a lot of confusions with those names. The same way that I cannot have an Agile coach that only knows about Agile, and I cannot have an Agile coach that only knows about coaching. We have some brilliant coaches outside software development, and they cannot do the work of an Agile coach because they don't have the experience of delivering requirements, working with software development, working with projects. So, what is an Agile coach that I'm talking about a long time, right? Oh, Agile coach is the guy that has a suitcase like this one on the picture that has Post-its, has scissors, has tapes, and have Sharpies like this. So I need to go to a paper store, buy all of this, and then I become an Agile coach? No. Wrong again. The Agile coach needs to know about all of this Agile world, all of those flavors that I showed to you, and many more. Then I listed here some things. Impact mapping. It's a technique from Gojko Adzik, who also wrote about BDD, behavior-driven design. Prototyping. It's a very interesting thing created around the same time as the book Lean Startup. Excuse me. It has many things in common with Lean Startup, but not many people know about it. User experience. User experience is something very, very new. We are bringing closer to us designers and people with design competence, people thinking on the end user, thinking more about people than process, tools, revenue, and that's making a lot of difference. So we need to learn more as an Agile coach about things that are not on IT. They might not even be technical. Here I have the NLP, Neuro Programming Linguistics, which is reading people behavior, understanding about psychology, understanding about philosophy, sociology. And I don't know all of those things, and I don't think anyone is capable of learning all of those things. That's why it makes it so hard to define what an Agile coach is. Because it is a box, a person with many different experiences and knowledges. That's what composes an Agile coach. So, moving forward, where do an Agile coach work? Well, an Agile coach works on all levels of management of a corporation. What do I mean with that? That an Agile coach needs to be able to talk on the strategic level of the organization. An Agile coach cannot think only about one team or one department. He needs to understand what are the company goals. So if we talk about strategic planning, if we talk about OKRs, which are objective and key results that was created by Intel, Google uses, and a lot of people a lot of companies copy what Google uses, so a lot of people are now trying to use OKRs in a similar way. The Agile coach needs to understand really what are the strategic goals of the company and how does that connect with the levels below. So if you know the strategic level, you need to also know the tactic level. You need to know the operational level, and you need to understand which areas interact with each of the teams that you work with. Inside this company, you have many different kinds of systems. You have systems of knowledge, you have systems that make transactions, you have systems that only executives uses. You need to have a really decent understanding of what they are and how they help the organization. Because you cannot give the same kind of attention for a software or an application that supports. Let me try to give an example. If my company has many softwares, many systems, and one system fly airplanes, and some other system record how many hours I work on a week. The system that flies airplanes is much more important and much more critical for that company than the system that just tracks how many hours I worked on a week. It's okay to have a problem on the software that controls and tracks hours worked on a week, and it's not okay to have a problem on a software that flies airplanes. On the same way, you might think, who are the people that the Agile Coach works with? The Agile Coach needs to work on all levels as well. The Agile Coach needs to work with people on the areas that are not agile. Not all areas of the organization will be agile unless you start your organization as an agile organization. If you are doing an adoption and an agile transformation, it will be incremental. It will be iterative. So you need to be able to interact with those areas along the way. So the Agile Coach works with the bottom, people that are hands-on coding. He works with the middle managers and the IT coordinators and the project managers and the development managers. And he also needs to work with directors and executives of companies. If you are an Agile Coach and you only work with one of those levels, to me, and that is my definition, you are not an Agile Coach. You are a Scrum Master, you are an Agile Evangelist, you are something else. And it's totally fine to be something else as well.
Okay.
So, Agile Coaches also need to learn about different organizational structures. So what is an organization structure? It's a way to support people to do their work. So let's think about a company that has a president. Below the president, I have directors. Below the directors, I have managers. Below the managers, I have the local bosses. Then I have the superiors, and then I have the workers. This structure was created to help that company to achieve some benefits, some goal, and work on a way that they believed was best. It's good for an Agile Coach to have lived this experience on some company, so that he knows what are the relationships between a president and a director and a manager, a boss and superior and worker and everything else. It's not okay in any company for the worker to go to the president and tell them that he is wrong or that he is doing something bad. It's usually not how it works. You need to know who to talk to, when, with what kind of message that you need to craft to get your message through the way of an organization. And at the same time, we have more flat organizations where we have a CEO or an owner or a president, and we have some people that are responsible for some specific areas below. And it's different to work on a company that it's more flat and on a company that have many levels of hierarchy and bureaucracy. I'm not saying here that one is good and the other is bad. No. What I'm saying is that it's different, and the Agile coach needs to understand those differences. Because the Agile coach works on the organization level. So he needs to understand not only his organization, but other organizations as well. And then on this picture, it's kind of a summary of some things that the Agile coach needs to care about, right? The Agile coach needs to care about people. People are very important. Agile coaches need to care about process. Oh, but I read on the Agile manifesto, it said individuals and interactions over process and tools. I don't care about process and tools. Wrong. You also need to care about process and tools. Individuals are more important, yes, but process and tools are also very important. You need to know about methods, and I talked already about a bunch of methods. If you didn't know some of them, it's a good opportunity. Maybe you look up and study and find a bit more. You need to know about technology. Some of the systems that we work on companies are legacy systems, which means that we no longer have support for that technology. It's probably not the best technology, but maybe it is the software that pays the bills. So it is very important. We need to treat legacy software very, very well. We need to be kind with legacy software. And we have data. Big data is becoming a really important thing for every single company. Machine learning, big data, those are things that are coming next, that we are getting better and better as we work, that help us as Agile coaches to take decisions and help companies improve their ways of working. And at the same time, we need to learn how to work with products, life cycle of products. I talked a bit about legacy code. A legacy system probably will be replaced at some point. So its life cycle will end, and something else will come in and will continue whatever that software was doing. And you need to know a lot about management. Management comes from the word maneggiare, which means deal with horses. And now we use management for people, as if people were horses. But we're not horses, right? We're much smarter. We speak, we talk. So it requires different approaches. And then we are seeing different approaches for management as well. We see management 1.0, we see management 2.0, management 3.0, and I'm sure we'll keep evolving and coming up with brighter ideas on how we do our management. So let me talk a bit about the role of an Agile coach. You probably have seen on many different presentations on conferences before about this book. The name of the book is Drive, and it was written by Daniel Pink. It's a really good book. It's an old book, and it's hard to read, but it's a good book. And on this book, he talks about motivation. And he says that the 3 pillars of motivation are mastery, purpose, and autonomy. Mastery. I want to improve. I want to be better on what I'm doing. I want to become a better Agile coach. Purpose. I am an Agile coach because I want to help my company adopt and transform software methodologies. Autonomy. I have autonomy to take decisions and make decisions within my work. And then I try to use those 3 things that are pillars for individual motivations and associate with roles, right? So if we think about mastery on a team of software developers, the team lead, the architect, sometimes the manager, will be thinking more about mastery. Purpose. Product owners, business analysts, business managers, they need to help us understanding the purpose. Why do we have this team of software developers? Why do we have this product? And autonomy. I think the Agile coach plays a big role on helping individuals and teams having autonomy to do the work. Because we're talking about different approaches to deal with requirements. We're talking about bringing business people together, closer to the teams of developers. We're talking about including people when we make decisions. So it's not me that will make the decision. The Agile Coach facilitates meetings, facilitates discussions, so that the result is collaborative. It's constructed with everyone, not only someone taking the final decision. And we talk about transformation. The Agile Coach, yes, it is someone that will help companies, not teams, to transform its ways of working, adopt agile practices, adopt agile methods. But for the Agile Coach to be effective, he needs to know why the company wants to work with Agile. Was it because someone said that it was faster? If yes, as an Agile Coach, you say, whoa, wait a minute. Agile is not faster. If you want to do software faster, you should not go with Agile. Because Agile won't give us software faster necessarily. What are we transforming? Is it the whole company? Is it some parts of the company? Is it a department? Are we keeping a dual way of developing software on my company? Are we using the bimodal IT by Gartner? We have mode 1 and mode 2, where mode 1 is agile and mode 2 is traditional software development. And how? There's no right or wrong for agile transformations. I could go back to my company and say, starting to Monday, next week, our company is agile. Either you learn agile or you'll be fired. That's one way. It is one approach. Our approach on the company that I am working now, we build pilots, and now we are building more teams, and we are growing agile, and the company does not want to become 100% agile. The company wants to increase its number of teams that works with agile development. Also, something very important is working with dates. This picture is supposed to be an expiration date of a medicine. I don't know if it's the same in Colombia or if it's a confusing image in Colombia for you guys. But here it's a medicine that have a expiring date. When you do an experiment or an agile transformation, you should have a high-level picture of when you start and stop doing certain things. One concrete example that I can give for you guys is we have a vision on my current company that an Agile Coach will stay up to 3 months with a team because he needs to go around the company. He needs to go with other teams, and each team will have their own tech lead and scrum master and product owner that need to be able to take care of whatever the Agile Coach does. The job of the Agile Coach with the team is to become useless. He needs to help everyone to be as good as he is so that he can leave and go to another team, help another part of the organization. And there are multiple approaches of dealing with transformations, right? We can go from bottom up and start building the products correctly. So we can use unit testing, we can do pair programming, we can use continuous integration, we can do continuous delivery. We're using practices that help us to build the products correctly. On the other side, you can go from top down, which is making the right product. Because if we use all the best techniques, the best practice, we hire the best developers, but we are building a product that no one wants to use, it's worthless. So you need to go bottom up and top down at the same time here. And these are ways of looking at a transformation. Working with the business, working with program and portfolio, working with projects and products, the differences between them, project teams, product teams, feature teams, and many others. How do you work with individuals and teams? And then you have agile individuals and non-agile individuals in case you are doing a transition in your company. And you need to know all those techniques, tools, and methods. So, who is an Agile coach? Why I think I am an Agile coach? Do they grow on trees, or how do I find more Agile coaches? We need Agile coaches. It's hard, right? An Agile coach to me is someone that at some point did a few of these roles. So at some point, the Agile coach was a business analyst, then he became a software architect, then he became an Agile coach, for example. Or he started working with network. He was a network engineering. Then he became a project manager, and now he is an Agile coach. I think it's really hard for an Agile coach to be an Agile coach if he only knows one role. Or if he did his whole career as a project manager, and then he becomes an Agile coach, I think it's hard. If he did his whole career as a developer and he wants to be an Agile coach, I think it's really hard. Because in order for you to have empathy and put yourself on somebody else's shoe, you need to know what is their day-to-day, what are the tasks that they perform, what they like, what they don't like. For example, testers like to find bugs, like to break things, like to find problems. Developers, they don't like to find problems, they don't like to break things. They like things that work as expected on the right way. So it's very different, those mindsets between different roles. The Agile coach needs to understand that there are different kinds of teams. If we talk about a team that develops software, there are teams that work for a product. There are teams that work for a domain. There are teams that have the autonomy and the freedom to have an idea and build a product and put in production and make money all by itself. There are teams that only do support and maintenance. Those teams do different kinds of work, and the Agile coach needs to understand the different kinds of work. Because when you are choosing what kind of Agile practices, what kind of Agile frameworks you're going to use, you need to understand the work that it's being done by a team. Can I use Scrum for a team that can't plan their work? Yes, you can use Scrum, but then you go for a planning meeting and you plan some cards to work on, and it will never be those cards that you're going to deliver. Is that bad? Probably is a smell that Scrum is not the best thing for that specific team. Probably you could try using Kanban or some tool-based flow that you pick up the work that is next and then you give visibility of that work that it's going on. Let me take a quick break and see the questions here. Oh, okay, we're good. There are some questions that I didn't answer yet, but I will keep going. The Agile coach also needs to understand a bit about inside the organization, how the organization is structured. For example, I worked on companies where we had the infrastructure department, we had the engineering department, and we had the business department as three different things. Three different directors, three different managers, many teams under each of those structures. And that's very different to work if you have everyone on the same structure. The treatment, the relationship, the cooperation, everything is different on each of those scenarios. So you can have groups of teams working together, groups of teams on the same department. You can have a development cluster. You can have 4 teams of mobile, for example. And they can be building the same application, or they can be building for different platforms. And those scenarios are also different, and you need to take that in consideration as well. We have some groupings by knowledge. For example, we have the Java part of our engineering. Only people that code in Java support Java applications. And you can have many ways of grouping teams. Okay, I talked about individuals, I talked about teams, I talked about clusters, groups of teams, and I talked about divisions, or the whole enterprise. And who is the Agile Coach here in this story? The Agile Coach, to me, is this guy. It's the guy that has a heart of Agile. He has Agile in his heart. He doesn't do Agile. He is Agile. He thinks about Agile on his decisions on a day-to-day basis. And he applies Agile knowledge into the tasks that he does. And as I briefly talked before, the Agile Coach works with individuals, with teams, with the clusters, and with the enterprise as a whole. There was a question here from Juan asking if the Agile Coach is similar to a organizational change management agent, leader. I think it's similar in a way that Agile Coach also does changes. And the Agile Coach needs to know a lot about change management. But I don't think they are the same. I think they share some competences. They share some skills, but it's not exactly the same. There was another question. I'll just try to answer now. Maybe it's not the right moment. Which was, can we have more than one coach in the same team? Should it be measured based only on the organization size? I think that's a really tricky question that we don't know the answer right now. Yes, we can have multiple coaches working with the same team, but how many teams an Agile Coach can work with? I don't think anyone knows, because each Agile Coach will be different, right? If I have 5 Agile Coaches, it doesn't mean that I can do 5 times what I do on the company today. We cannot really measure. And that's because the Agile Coach job is so broad, it's so open, that people complement each other. This guy is better on these things, and this guy is better on these things, and they help each other to do a better job with the organization. It's not a team focus, it's an organization focus. So, do you want to say something, Jorge?
No. Continue.
Good. The Agile Coach, to me, he needs to be good at some things, right? He needs to be a good teacher. He needs to be a good coach. He needs to be a good mentor as well, because sometimes you need to be a mentor. Sometimes you need to tell people what to do. Sometimes you can be a coach and you can let people fail. You can let people learn. You need to be good with facilitation. You need to go to a meeting, to an inception, and help people to put their ideas and their thoughts from their heads to things like post-its. Be able to write things on cards and put things on the wall. And I think you also need to have some consulting experience, you know. Sometimes just telling people what they need to do, it's not the most effective way. You need to have some practice of getting to know people and learning approaches of how selling people and convincing people and getting to know people better, the same way that we do as consultants on different companies. Oops, wrong laptop. Okay, so I talked about teaching, coaching, mentoring, facilitating, consulting. What else, right? And this is the big list of things that it's the beginning of the things that I feel the Agile coach should care about. And it's a lot, right? He needs to know about culture, people, process, methodology, how to make adjustments, change. He needs to think about enhanced things. He needs to think about experiments. He needs to care about failure, success. Yes?
Okay, I agree, Lucho and Guilherme, but okay, I agree, and you need to have a mastery in that concept to take this concept in your heart. Yes, it's okay. I think in Agile Coach, a person or people who think very lean, like Yoda, like Miyagi. Yes, but you need a lot of knowledge to get that knowledge, or to get that experience, to get that level in that all the many things that you show us.
Yes, and that's exactly the point. The point is no one will have all of those things. I don't have those things. I'm not an expert on all of those things. I am better at some of those things, and I am worse at some of those things. Teaching. I'm learning how to teach. I am a professor. I give classes. But I'm not the best teacher there is. Coaching, mentoring, consulting. All of those things on the list are important for an Agile coach, but no one will be the best on all of them. It's impossible. It's too many things.
Okay. Okay.
So let's go a bit talking about the responsibilities. What is the Agile coach responsible for? To me, the Agile coach is responsible for promoting Agile. He needs to help people understand what Agile is and let them know the different flavors, kinds, and types of Agile. One thing that I think it's very important is reminding people what they said that they wanted to do. Because sometimes people say things like, I want to be the best developer in the company. And then the guy does not read, for example, or he does not practice development, or he does not write unit tests. You need to help that guy to understand and support him. Yes, I want to help you to be the best developer of the company, but in order for you to be the best developer in the company, you need to learn about patterns, programming patterns. You need to learn about how to work with continuous integration. You need to learn how to write unit tests. You need to learn how to write functional tests. You need to help people to understand what they need to do in order to reach where they want to be. But sometimes it's just the fact of reminding people that it's important. Hey, you said you wanted to work with Agile, and now you're not respecting your colleague. That's not Agile. Please be respectful with your colleague. This is maybe an extreme case, but it also is important. Another point is facilitation, as I said, but help others facilitate. Give feedback to facilitators. I attend a lot of Agile ceremonies where I don't say anything at all. The only thing I do is give feedback to Scrum Masters and to product owners that are facilitating the sessions. I help them if they don't have any idea of dynamic or icebreaker or things like that. But my purpose is to help them grow, help them become better facilitators. The Agile coach, it's also very important to give visibility. We talked about Agile transformations, and Agile transformations go on many levels, right? it goes on individuals, it goes on teams, it goes on managers, it goes on the software that we are delivering. One way to give visibility is the Spotify Squad Health Check, which is this picture over here that you can see on the middle. They have some parameters. The squads are teams. They use it as teams. And they have colors to represent if they are going well or not well. And they have some cards as well to help them to play and let the team judge with the Agile coach and their leads how they are dealing. So it's one thing for you guys to look up if you are interested. Data, graphs are very important. So we're talking about lead time, we're talking about work in progress, how many items we have in progress at each time. The graph on the top left with WIP, it shows how many tickets we had in progress at the time. And when I joined the team, the number was really, really high. And then we went down and we started delivering much more. So that's the graph on the right as well. So the graph on the right is the lead time that an item would take. And the graph on the left is how many items we have going in parallel. So you can see those results very visually. And you can put on your team area, on the walls, or anywhere that helps your team. There are many kinds of canvas that you can use to give visibility of work. So you can distribute your work between visible value for the customer and invisible value for the customer. For example, solving technical debt most of the time does not impact your customer. Yes, makes your developers happy, makes your maintenance cost lower, but the customer doesn't know if you fixed that ugly class or not. So these are ways of classifying the work. The CFD, the cumulative flow diagram, is another tool of keeping track. I'll go really, really fast now because I'm almost over with my time. OKRs, I talked a bit. It's a way of linking company goals with the team goals. This is a stand-up example. Let's keep this one. So on a day-to-day basis, the Agile coach needs to identify and understand the context, right? He needs to be aware of ceremonies, meetings, how the team is integration with each other, and how people are collaborating. And that goes beyond an Agile team. That is on the organization level, areas that are not Agile and individuals that are not Agile as well. Let me see here what else I had. Sorry guys, let me see where I'm going to stop so that we don't stop on a bad spot. Oops. Can you guys see my screen? No, right?
No.
How about now? Is it back?
Yes.
Okay. So this part is a bit of a small list of tools that I like to use to help teams. This on the right is a matrix of knowledge. So I have a team of four professionals. I have Pedro, João, Maria, Luisa, and then I have skills that are important for my team. I have Java, I have SQL, I have payments, and then I have the different levels of each individual on each competence. That helps the team to know who to ask help and how the team needs to grow in order to be mature and in order to deliver that product. Pairing matrix. It's a tool to help the team know who they paired with and who they should pair with next, so that we can identify maybe relationship problems with the team maybe everyone wants to pair with Jorge, but not everyone wants to pair with Motta, and then you can use it as a way to understand and solve those problems within the team. Moving motivators. This is a tool from Management 3.0 from Jürgen Apello. It is 10 cards. It's really hard to see it. It's better if you go to the website later on if you are interested. It's 10 intrinsic motivators of yourself that you can order what is more important for you. And this colorful thing that you're seeing on the slides, it is a list of people that work on my company and what they value the most. So we can see that power, the blue thing on the right, is not something that people value a lot on my company because it's on the right side. And on the left side, you see maestria in Portuguese, which is something that a lot of people in my company value. So that helps to get to know people better. These are the moving motivators, the cards that I was talking about. And these are some graphs that I've done after facilitating for a large group of people. This slide, it's about Myers-Briggs, which is a tool from psychology to determine a personal profile. Am I more introvert? Am I more extrovert? And that helps me to get to know my team members better. I like to facilitate this in a way that every member of the team goes through this test and share the results so that everyone on the team knows better who they are working with. Strengths Finder, it's a book that helps you understanding your own strengths. And this is also a similar example that you can see. And to end, it is very important to deal with meetings as an Agile coach. For example, if you are given 1 hour to make a presentation, you need to end in 1 hour. That's why I'm going to end now, and I'm not going to show any more of my slides, besides the last one. Oops. No. Slide my contact today. No, I lost it. I lost the screen share. Okay, I think it's back. Yes. So meetings are very important. Consider time blocks, respect your time, respect your audience, respect your organizers, everyone. Stick to the time, know the place, and prepare for everything. So I try to speak it really slow, and then I fail to deliver the whole presentation. But it was an introduction. It's a very long topic to discuss Agile Coaching.
Okay, Guilherme, I'm grateful with you. Los muchachos, los invito a todos a que hagamos preguntas en la parte de preguntas. Guilherme nos responderá las preguntas y también utilicemos el hashtag Agile Coach y pues hablemos con él como para cerrar. En inglés, en español, él nos responderá en inglés o en portuñol o en lo que necesitemos. No sé qué preguntas tengamos. Me parece enriquecedora esta charla. Really, I'm grateful with you and Agiles Colombia are grateful with you. It was a great speech about Agile Coach and I feel that I have a great gap with you a lot of things. And a great gap is very many things to learn to get many mastery for 2 or 4 or 10 things, but not all, maybe a little bit or another. And the other things I call you. Yeah. Yes. Lucho, you have the word.
No, no, I think we are on the road.
We are all on the road, and we will always be on the road.
Yeah. Just a big thanks to Guilherme. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you soon, maybe in Quito in October or sooner in Bogota. We're going to meet for the first time with our Jornadas Ágiles Nacionales next August.
Nice. Yeah, I hope to be there too. I love events. And
Okay.
if you guys want to talk again, I'll be definitely come back, and I'm always open to. I'm very thankful for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here and talking to a lot of people. So thank you very much, you guys, for inviting me, and everyone that spent the last
Okay.
hour listening. I know it's hard in English.
Okay. Guilherme, I have a question. Okay, maybe many of the people are listening you or watching us think, okay, I want to be an agile coach. The steps. Tell us the steps. Okay, how progress, how feel. Okay, I like Lucho. We are on the road. Okay, tell us the steps. What do you think about the steps to get a good agile coach?
Okay, so I think that a good agile coach needs to work with agile. And it's really hard to work with agile. I worked for ThoughtWorks, for example, which is a very well-known agile consultancy that does some projects with really good agile and some projects that are not that agile as well. So if I'm talking about a company that it's a reference on agility, and they don't do agile 100% of the time on all projects, on all companies, it's really hard for you as well to have agile experiences. So I think first you have to work with software development. You need to go through different roles. Spend 2 years as a project manager, spend some time as a scrum master of a team, and then you can start thinking about being an agile coach. But you need to learn the differences. Work on a team that it's a product team. Work on a team that it's a feature team. Work on a team that only works on projects. Work on a team that does maintenance. I think those different experiences are most valuable for an agile coach. So I don't think anyone can come from college and, okay, I want to be an agile coach now. Because part of the job of an agile coach is to share his experiences on different contexts. So I think it's hard, and some people will be faster developing that, and some people will take a lot more time. The problem is that right now the market wants agile coaches, and we don't have agile coaches because all of the ones that exist, they are on the road, and we are very few agile coaches. So
Okay.
I started with Agile Coach, the title Agile Coach, 3 years ago. 3 years, it's not a lot of time. But before those 3 years, I had 7 years within software development. So I think
Okay.
that's. Did I answer your question or no?
Okay. You answered the
It's
question.
basically
It's
work
a
hard.
mysterious. Yes. Work hard and read a lot, or read the leaders. Is only I think is
Find a
a
coach.
yes.
Find a mentor. Find a good project to work on. Start a pet project. Help an open source software. Those are ways that can make this process faster, but it's not a fast journey. It's not a fast process.
Okay. Guilherme, another question about when you put the Agile Coach beside the organization diagram, yes, of the pyramid. What do you think? How many coaches need an organization or for transform his culture, their culture?
As many as possible, I guess, my answer. If I could fly you guys down and hire all the Brazilian Agile coaches and bring to my company, I think that would still not be enough because the company has 18,000 employees. It would be great to have 18,000 Agile coaches, but it would be too much, it would be too expensive and insane at the same time, right? So right now, we have 2 Agile coaches for a handful of teams. And we are expecting to have until the end of the year about 5 Agile coaches and 20 teams. Can one Agile coach work with 20 teams?
Again, please again.
Yes.
How many teams and how much teams and how much Agile coach? The relation, maybe.
So
how many teams? How many coaches?
I can work with 10 teams, right? But if I work with 10 teams, they will have much less attention and availability from me if I work with 5 teams. And to me, that's the trade-off that you're going to do. The more money and the more investment you put into an agile transformation, the more reliable will be the results. So I don't think there is a ratio. At the same way that we cannot tell how many testers we need on a team. Some people talk about each 4 developers, we need 1 tester. Some people talk about 4 and 2. No one knows, right? It depends on the project, on the work, on the team.
Okay, okay, Guilherme. Any question, guys?
I see a
maybe
few questions here that
on Twitter,
I see here some questions.
Okay, okay.
So one question is, having Agile in the heart is very important for an Agile coach. But what do you think about developers that aim to get that level of understanding of Agile? I think it's great. I think developers can become Agile coach if they want to. I think it's awesome. It's very helpful for an Agile coach to have people in the organization that know about Agile software development. The more, the better. And it doesn't matter the role or the seniority, but it's important that the Agile coach have a good relationship and can support them along the way. This is a comment, it's not a question, but I think being an Agile coach is very challenging. I agree. It's much more than to be a project manager. I disagree. The Agile coach is not better or worse than a project manager. It's just a different kind of work. The Agile coach is not the boss of the Scrum Masters. Agile coach is not better than a product owner. He's not better than a Scrum Master. It's just a different role. Some companies have Agile coaches and they don't have project managers. It's not the right way, but it is a way. If you only work with products and you have product owners, you have Scrum Masters, and the whole company knows how to work with Agile, you don't even need an Agile coach. Probably the role of an Agile coach will be distributed along the team.
Okay.
Next question.
Frank, yes.
One tip that helps us coach a boss, very 1.0, management 1.0. And then to answer this question, I will just add another question, if that's okay, that was made on the Meetup group. How do you deal with lack of management support? Is that okay? And then Frank asked for 1 tip. I'll give him 4 tips. First tip is, show the purpose. Why do you want to work with Agile software development? Because You want to make the product quality higher because you want to have less defects, because you want to collaborate more with people. Why are you doing it? The purpose is very important. Once people know why, they are more open to do things. Second tip, bring outside experts. And I'm not telling you to hire consultants, but there is a saying in Portuguese. Jorge, help me to say if this exists in Spanish. But it says, santo de casa não faz milagre.
Repeat,
No?
please, Guilherme. No, repeat. The audio was gone.
Santo de casa não faz milagre. It says
¿Será
that
que por mucho que uno corra, no? O sea, ¿cómo es, Lucho? ¿Cuál crees vos que sea como el dicho? Por mucho que se amanezca, no amanece más temprano. ¿O qué estará diciendo?
No. What I'm saying is that I work for company A, okay?
Yes.
If I go to the boss of company A and I tell him, Scrum is good, let's work with Scrum, he won't listen to me. But if I bring Jorge, that is a very experienced consultant and have a long history with Agile, and Jorge says, work with Scrum, he'll say, yes, I'll work with Scrum.
Nadie es profeta en su tierra.
Un experto es cualquiera de fuera del país.
Un experto, sí, nadie es profeta en su tierra. Un experto siempre es de afuera. Los expertos, all the experts are outside, never inside.
Something like that. It doesn't mean that Jorge knows more or less than me, but sometimes just having someone with a title or a resume or a different company behind makes a lot of difference. So that's my second tip. My third tip is that when you're talking about changing the culture of the company, you can do it from the bottom up in a riot way, right? You get your friends and then you decide to work in Agile and then you just start working with Agile, even if you don't have the support of executives. If you're lucky, you can show the results and you can prove that what you're doing is adding more value to the company, and then you'll be happy about doing that. And the fourth tip is never use the word Agile. Don't talk about Management 3.0. Don't talk about Scrum. Don't talk about Kanban. Read things and do it. Don't say that it came from Agile Manifesto. Don't say that you saw it on a talk. Help people understand things and apply. And you can do this even on a waterfall company, because you can help people see the value of some practice of bringing people together, and then you'll see the benefits of it, and people will start doing it. It will be much slower than having executive support, management support, and having people do development. But there are some tips that you can try depending on your organization.
Okay.
Then we have some questions on chat here. Okay. One question actually. If I'm talking with a CEO of a company, what can I say to him about a good thing of getting Agile Coach in the company? I think the question is the other way around. Alejandro, if you are still there, why do you want an Agile Coach? What for? Because if you don't know the purpose of having an Agile Coach, how you're going to explain to your CEO that you need an Agile Coach? It's very different if you go to a CEO and say, hey, I need to hire an Agile Coach because we are working with waterfall and or with any methodology. I'm not saying that waterfall is bad here. That's not my intention. I learned a lot by working with waterfall software development. But our company is developing this way, and I think that if we would bring an Agile Coach to help us build a pilot to work with agile software development, our product would be much better, or we would have much more customers, or we would have much more profitability. You need to build a case around it. It doesn't have to be formal, it can be verbally as well, but you need to be clear on what kind of results you're expecting to get from that agile coach and from the work that that agile coach will be doing.
Okay. Okay, Guilherme. Okay, again, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this session, for the time box, for the examples, for the everything. Agiles Colombia is thank you very much, and maybe we maybe in the future we will program another session. Yes, with you and okay, with Lucho, I don't know, with whatever. Guilherme, you are welcome always in Agiles Colombia. You are welcome always with us, and we had to will meet us in Ecuador. And okay, great presentation and no more desde mi parte. Muchas gracias, Guilherme. La verdad fue excelente. Yo pienso que aportó y fue crucial. You say that the companies are looking for agile coach and the market don't have it. Don't have it. Is difícil. Is difficult to find a real agile coach, and you show us the path. The path. Lucho, tus palabras y cerramos.
Nothing, that's a wrap.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay, Guilherme. Good night. Good night, and thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm the one to say thanks, and if you have any questions or idea, or if you disagree with something, if you think that I said something that it's completely wrong, please let me know, and then let's talk about over email or Twitter or LinkedIn, because I also see it as an opportunity of learning. Maybe you guys know a lot of things that I'm not seeing or I'm not thinking, and that would be great for me to learn as well. So thank you all for attending, for listening to me, and I hope we'll keep in touch somehow at some point.
Okay. See you. Bye.
See you.
bye.
Thanks.
Bye.